Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make a really chilled kind of vlog and literally just catch up with you all. I have quite a lot I want to update you on that's kind of going on with me. I want to check in on you guys, see how you're doing. I just feel like this lockdown, this whole scenario is just so different from any other. I know there's people going through a hell of a lot worse, and I just hope that if you are going through worse things, then I hope you're okay. Know that there really is like the end of the tunnel. Like, we're now in February. I don't think this video is going to go out for a little while because of what I'm going to get onto in a second, but yeah, we're now in February. It's going to be March soon. The sun's going to be back out. Everything's just going to be a lot more easier to deal with. We've literally got through the worst. Like, the worst that this could have possibly been is done. We will now only be able to look up, so I'm excited for the next coming months. And the prospect of everything just kind of lightening up a bit and being less restricted, the weather being nicer. Like, there's so many things to look forward to. There's nothing that I love more than seeing you guys replying to each other, because I just love the fact that it's like a bit of a community feel. So if you do want to have a little chat to literally anyone in the comments, then do that, and I'll be down there and I'll be replying to a load of you guys as well. Yeah, like I say, I wanted to sit down and fully update you on some things that I kind of have going on. So I guess let's get into that. This, just to preface it, is going to be a chat about kind of like womanly things. Like, if you're a guy here and you found yourself watching this video, I mean, it's going to be quite TMI for a lot of you, but also something that I feel is very important to talk about. I am probably going to be touching on the subject of PCOS and infertility and things like that. So if any of that kind of triggers you or just doesn't appeal to you and it's not something you want to hear about, then please feel free to click off. I will not be offended. I don't want to offend any of you by just having a chat and an update about what I kind of have going on. So yeah, I just want to say that before I get into anything. But if you do want to hear about it, then that's kind of the things that I'm going to be talking about. So I am not going to be putting this video out until I have got my test results back. I'm not going to be putting this video out until I know more about what I personally have going on, so I can speak on it from an educated and a correct point of view. Right now I just want to update you on what's kind of been happening, I guess, and the next steps that I'm taking. So as this video goes on, hopefully I'll be able to give you more information and be more clear on everything, I guess, because right now it's all a bit of a mess to me at the time that I'm filming this clip, and I'm hoping by the end of this video, for my sake as well, I've got a bit more clarity. But basically, I don't think I've really touched on this. I think I've touched on the fact that I've had very heavy periods before, straight into it, very heavy periods before. Like, that is something I've always suffered with. They've been very heavy. They've always been at least a week, and they've always been something that I've kind of struggled to deal with. But I don't think I've really touched on the fact of how irregular my periods have always been. So even since I was like 16 was when I first had my period, which I think is kind of late. Like, a lot of my friends have been either 12, 13, 14. Obviously there's no age limit on it. You can come on however young or however older. But yeah, I was 16, had my first period. It was so heavy that I literally could not move from the toilet. Like, I could not get up, I couldn't go back to my lessons. I passed out in my art class because I was in so much pain. I didn't really realise I'd passed out. I literally just fell asleep at the desk and had no idea what was going on, because obviously it was my first period, so it was kind of scary. I bled through my uniform. Like, it was just not the greatest situation, basically. So ever since then, obviously I've come to deal with them. I now know what to do. I know how heavy they're going to be. I know to wear 2 pads and change my tampon 12 times a day. Like, I know that's my periods. But recently I had a little bit, I won't lie, I had a bit of a pregnancy scare. Me and Brad are always very safe, don't worry about that. We are not wanting to have kids right now, we're not trying for a child, but I had basically every single symptom of potentially being pregnant. So I've missed a couple of periods before, like in my life. My periods are so irregular that sometimes I will go 8 weeks without having anything, and I kind of had that again. So I missed a period, didn't really think anything of it because I've had it before. So I had a period in November, and then the whole of December I didn't have one. So the date that I was due to come on, like a month after my last period, I didn't come on, and 2 weeks later I still hadn't come on. So this was now potentially like the 23rd or something of December. I didn't want to be worrying about whether I was potentially pregnant or not, so I was holding off taking a test, and I was like, I'm just going to get Christmas out the way and then I will deal with it after. I'll take a test and I'll see what happens and we can go from there. So I literally woke up one morning and I'd convinced myself so much that I was pregnant that I woke up, I think either on Christmas Eve or the 23rd, I can't remember exactly what date it was, but I was like, I need to do this test, like I need to find out, I need to know if I'm pregnant or not, because I'm just gonna worry about it. This feels so weird to be talking about. I feel like I'm being so honest even with my own feelings, which is weird. I don't know, I feel like obviously this is all such personal things, and I am really rambling now, but these are all such personal things, and it will, like, you guys will understand why I want to voice it and why I want to talk about it, because if it helps one person, then I've done my job. But I feel like I've not been able to be myself, because even though it's so personal, I literally still feel like I'm hiding something from you guys. Like, I've got things going on right now, which is why I'm not feeling my best, and I feel like if I'm not honest with that, I can't move forward with trying to be my best, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know, that was a ramble, but anyway, I took the test and I was not pregnant. I was negative, came back negative. It was an electric test, so it was literally just a pregnant or not pregnant, and I was not pregnant. So that ruled that out completely, and I was like, amazing, not pregnant, don't need to worry about it. It's not our time right now, like I say, it's just not something we want right now. So to me, that was good news. And then I think I either came on or didn't really, I think I basically started bleeding, and I've got in my app the first day that I started bleeding, but I wasn't in pain or anything. So like I say, my periods have always been so painful, very, very heavy, and I wasn't bleeding like I normally would for a period. So this started around New Year. So I've got here that on the 3rd of January was the first date that I logged that there was like a substantial amount of blood, but before that it was just more or less like spotting, which again is a pregnancy symptom, which is why also I thought that I was pregnant, but obviously I'd already taken the test by this point and I know I wasn't. So at this point I'm just confused as to why I'm bleeding and I'm not in pain. So long story short, that has been going on for a month. I've been bleeding for a month straight with no pain, no period symptoms, and I woke up one morning, I think a couple of weeks ago now, so as I'm filming this, 2 weeks ago, I woke up in the morning and I had the biggest blood clots. Again, TMI, the biggest blood clots I think I've ever had, and it panicked me. It made me completely freak out, because blood clots can sometimes be very, very normal and sometimes be a bit of an issue. So I called the doctors that morning, which is something that I have been just putting off. Like, I've had irregular periods, I've had weird things that I feel like have been going on for a very long time, and I probably should have started this process a long time ago and called the doctors straight away. So I'm urging any of you, if you feel like something is wrong with your period or something is just wrong with you in general, like, you know your body better than anybody else does, please call someone, speak to someone if you do feel like something's up, because if you catch things early, then amazing. And that's my main message from this entire chat that we're gonna have. I just want you guys to check up on yourselves, look after yourselves, and call doctors straight away, which is not what I did. So yeah, that urged me to call the doctor straight away. I had an over the phone appointment, and taking it back to 5 years ago, I want to say, I think I was like 18 and I'm now 23, so literally 5 years ago, I had a scan, like an internal scan, because again, I was just confused as to why my periods were a little bit off at that time of my life. Obviously something was going on that I wanted to get checked out, and I had a scan, and I didn't really come away from that scan knowing what the entire outcome was. Like, I wasn't entirely sure what the situation was. I knew that I had potentially some cysts on my ovaries, but as far as I was aware, they were like quite small and they weren't really an issue. So that's what I took away when I was 18. That's what I thought. I thought, okay, I've got some cysts on my ovaries. I think they're very common. I know a lot of people have them, and usually they don't cause an issue. But when I had my over the phone appointment, she obviously got my notes up and she was like, oh, so I can see you've got polycystic ovaries. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't necessarily realise that that was exactly what I had. I wasn't really made fully aware that that was the outcome of that scan. Like, I didn't realise they were polycystic ovaries. So she kind of dropped that bombshell on me unintentionally, like she didn't know that I wasn't fully aware of that. And then obviously the conversation started up about like how that can cause infertility and how you can have complications with that, and sometimes it can be a little bit more dangerous and a little bit more threatening if it does start to kind of intervene with your cycle and everything like that. At this point in the phone call, I now obviously know that I've got polycystic ovaries. She's then talking to me about how there's so many things that we can do if I do become infertile, if I do find that that's an issue. Obviously I explained to her that kids is not something that we're looking at right now, but it is something that we obviously want to have in the future, and I don't want to be having complications with that. So we did start the conversation about treatments and things you can do, because if you are told you have polycystic ovaries, it does not mean that you can't have kids, full stop. Obviously there's so many things you can do, and there are also so many people that have fallen pregnant naturally without any complications and they've got polycystic ovaries. So just to kind of explain it to you, because she explained it to me on the phone and it made so much sense, and I literally didn't understand what they were before this, so I hope this helps a bit. But basically what was happening in my periods and what has been happening over this whole time, if you have polycystic ovaries, obviously it means you have cysts on your ovaries, and those cysts will sometimes basically engulf the egg that's being released during your period. So that means you're not ovulating because your egg is not flowing through correctly as it should. If you're not ovulating, obviously that means you cannot get pregnant. So she then explained to me that a non-painful period is a period where you haven't necessarily ovulated. So my periods, like I say, are usually very painful, and when I thought back to my November period, which was the last one I had, I didn't have any pain, and it was so weird to me because I was like, this is great because I'm not in pain. I would love for every period to be like this, but obviously changes in your period, whether they're good changes or bad changes, can still mean something and can sometimes still mean something bad. So again, even if it's a change like that where you're like, oh my god, I have no pain anymore, or this symptom's gone, do still get it checked out or chat to someone, because any change can not necessarily be good news. I don't want to worry anyone with this. Obviously just talk to someone if you genuinely feel like it, and they will put your mind at rest, because that's what happened with me. I now understand it a lot more, and it's just understanding what's going on that's the important thing. Yeah, it basically means that on my November period I didn't ovulate. So if I didn't ovulate in November, I then didn't have a period in December, so I couldn't have ovulated then. And then in January, where I've been bleeding all month, she basically explained that over the time where I've not had a period, I have been building up this wall around in whatever goes on down there. It basically builds this wall up, and the January bleeding and the blood clots are all of that being released, as gross as it sounds. That is basically everything that came out that has been building up over a month. So that kind of all made sense to me, because basically the egg can be released at any point, so the cyst can basically just release it at any time of the month and they can all just come out randomly. So obviously that's what's kind of been happening to me. It's been so inconvenient, I guess, to bleed every day. It's literally not the end of the world. Again, so many people are going through so much worse, but I've never really had that. And I think it's just a bit of a weird situation, because that's the only symptom I've had. I've not been in pain. I've not had any kind of physical symptoms like that. And I think sometimes subconsciously, if you are unwell, you look for pain or you look for discomfort, and because I was just bleeding and I wasn't in pain, I didn't really think much of it. But obviously something could be going on that just isn't causing pain, but equally could be quite dangerous. So it's now the 2nd of February. I have stopped bleeding now. I stopped bleeding yesterday. I've had a couple of kind of period pains and I felt a bit funny, but I am in the 73rd or the 74th day of my cycle. So obviously I should have had a couple of periods in between, and I haven't had one. So I'm now kind of just waiting to see if I come on. I'm usually due around the end of the month, and I'm waiting to see if that happens. But I have taken the first steps in investigating exactly what's going on. Obviously if I do have polycystic ovaries, they want to do a load of tests. You guys know, I've spoken about this so many times, I suffer horrendously badly with bloating and discomfort in that area, which again can be another symptom of it, another side effect of it. Another quick warning, I am going to briefly touch on needles and a test that I got at the doctor's. So again, if you don't like things like that, please skip forward a couple of seconds. But yeah, I got a blood test today because they're going to test my hormones. So I've had a blood test in the past to test whether I'm anemic, which I think came back that I was on the borderline of anemic, but I've not really spoken about that since. I'll obviously catch up with them about that, I'm sure, when these come back. But they are basically doing a blood test to test my hormone levels, and I think test for basically anything and everything they can, just to kind of see what's going on. I did ask if it was worth me having another internal scan, and she did say that it's probably not, because it will only just show up that you have polycystic ovaries again. And I was like, fair enough, but I personally would feel a lot more comfortable with having a scan as well. So I'm waiting for these blood test results to come back, so by Friday I should have much more clarity as to whether my hormones might be imbalanced, whether that is going to affect my infertility or my fertility, and also whether that is something that is affecting my bloating and something again that might be a little bit more sinister than it seems. But that is why I don't want to put this video out straight away. I just wanted to update you with what I've been dealing with. Obviously you can imagine it's quite like a mental thing, which I think I've put down a lot and not really thought about. Like, I think it's really difficult when someone's telling you all these things and saying like, oh, it could mean this and it could mean this and you might have to do this. It's really hard to take in and kind of think that's my life, like she's talking about me and what I'm gonna have to deal with or potentially have to deal with, and I think it's really hard to comprehend. So I've been a little bit numb to it and I've been a bit emotionless to it, I guess. I don't know, I don't really know what to think or how to feel. And obviously the lockdown situation is not helping anyway. I don't feel myself, regardless as to whether anything is going on, like it's just a weird time for anyone. But yeah, I just wanted to be open and honest because that's my story, that's kind of what I've had going on. They're the signs that I found, and if you are experiencing the same things, or if you just have any irregular things going on like with your womanhood and with things that we all have to go through, please just do get it checked out just in case. But I did want to kind of bring you along on the journey, I guess, in case it does interest some people, or it does help to put people's minds at rest. As much as I want to push you guys to go and get things checked, I also want to comfort you if this is something that somebody else is going through. I don't know if it's too personal, I don't know if I should be putting this out. I feel comfortable with it, I feel comfortable with sharing a story that might help people. That's obviously what I want to do with my platform, but at the same time obviously it is a very personal thing to a lot of people. And I'm not saying it for sympathy. I'm literally not, like, I'm not looking for pity, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not going through anything compared to what people do go through. I know people have a very, very hard time with conceiving, multiple other things in their lives. Like, there's so many issues that a lot of people go through that I probably won't have to go through. So please don't think that I'm doing this video for that. I'm literally doing it for educational purposes as much as I can. Like, I want to share my experience and I'll share the information that I get handed over to me. I will share that with you guys throughout this vlog. So yeah, there's my little chat. I feel like that might have been quite long-winded, so I'm very sorry if it was a bit confusing, but I just feel like I need to word vomit to you guys. Like, I haven't just sat and had a chat for ages. Obviously I've caught up with my friends and my family about this, obviously, and kept them in the loop, and they've obviously helped me out a lot. But yeah, I just feel a bit odd coming on camera and being like, hey, like, welcome back to my channel, da, da, da. Like, knowing what to film at the moment is difficult anyway, but when you're not feeling yourself, and then when I wasn't being honest about everything and just telling you guys like what is really going on in my life, I just felt weird. I just felt like I didn't want to pick up the camera, and I don't want to feel like that. So I feel better already getting this off my chest. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I'm looking forward to catching up with you guys properly and having a little chat in the comments. But I'm going to leave this section of this video here because I have literally been talking for 25 minutes. I'm going to try and condense this down somehow. And yeah, like I say, so far I've had my blood test. I get the results on Friday, and once I've had a good chat to my GP and I get the results of that, then we'll go from there. I'll tell you guys what kind of happens, and yeah, that's it really. Okay, little update for this video. I feel like this is very formal. I've literally just finished filming a haul, so I thought I'd just jump on here because I had my test results back today, and weirdly, I say this very loosely because obviously it shouldn't be weird, it should be very good news, which it is. My hormone test came back all fine, so apparently my hormones are completely balanced. And my other blood test came back with anemic, which I kind of knew already. I've had blood tests before that have shown that, so that doesn't really change anything. I only say weirdly because I was kind of, in the strangest way, like hoping I was kind of going to get an answer from this and have a next step to take. But I do just have slight reserves with my experience right now, just because I've kind of had a phone call with the doctor and been told all of these things that it could potentially be, and all of these worrying things that we might have to do, and like all of this. And obviously I've done this test to see if that is all going to come true or if it's not. and in the meantime I still don't feel right, I still don't feel myself. I still feel like there is definitely something wrong with me. Whatever it may be, I don't know. It might be something linked to the near anemic, it could be anything. But I do, for my own peace of mind and my own sake, I do really want to have another internal scan, because I haven't had one for years and I just feel like it's worth potentially finding something. I don't know what that would be. I don't know whether it would be something to do with polycystic ovaries and whether something's grown. I don't know how it works, but I did do some Googling and YouTube video watching, and just don't do that because it is terrifying. And I did kind of watch a few videos of people talking about it and talking about changes that they've made in their lifestyle to help PCOS and things like that. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I am going to go back to the doctor and ask to kind of speak to her again, because right now this has all been left with your hormones are fine, your blood tests were fine, you're just kind of anemic, so here's some iron tablets, there you go. I still feel personally in my head that that's not enough. Like I still don't feel right. I still don't feel like that's an answer to why I was bleeding for over a month, why I've still not come on my period after over 2 months now. Like there's still so many unanswered questions. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to her and have a conversation, see if I can get myself a scan, and then if that's not something they can facilitate right now, then I am thinking I might just go and speak to a gynecologist and someone that specifies in this realm and like everything to do with this, so I can speak to someone about PCOS specifically and what it kind of means for me personally. Whether that means doing more tests, whatever it means, I have no idea right now, but this is obviously just an update for this vlog. Again, I feel like this kind of pushes the date of when I want to set this vlog live back, because right now I still don't have the answers that I thought I was potentially going to get from these tests. So I don't, again, want to just put this out and not be entirely informed myself, and therefore potentially portray false information. I don't want to do that at all, and I'm very wary of that. So yeah, I'm going to speak to the doctors tomorrow, so I'll update you guys again then and see what they say. I think I'm just going to call in the morning and have probably another over the phone consultation and then go from there really. But yeah, kind of strange. I don't really know how to feel about it. Like obviously I'm more than happy that nothing is wrong, touch wood, like from these tests nothing outstanding is wrong, but obviously in myself I still don't feel right, and I still have a lot of questions that are kind of unanswered and a lot of issues that are kind of unanswered. So I don't really know how to feel. I don't think I will know how to feel until those things are answered, I guess that is just all part of the process, and that's totally fine. Hey guys, so I've literally just finished filming a little section for a vlog, and I just realized that I needed to update this video and kind of bring you up to speed with where I am now, because I'm slowly realizing I was pretty naive when I started filming this video. I kind of thought that I would begin it by telling you everything that I had gone through in the past and what kind of led me up to wanting to do like further tests and stuff, and I just kind of thought that by the end of the video I'd have all the answers and I'd know exactly where I stood. But obviously this, as I'm sure you're aware, if you do suffer from anything of the sort, it is a journey. You do not get answers like that. Like it's just one of these things that there could be so many different outcomes, so many different things change. So I just kind of thought that I would keep this as not like a series, but like update you real time. So I'm going to update you now as to where we're at, and the outcome of where we're at now is like another test but in the future. So I'm going to round this video off with the current circumstances, and then I'll basically pick you back up when I get around to having that test, and I can explain that all in a separate video and we can kind of see what happens from then on. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just realizing that this is probably going to be multiple videos and not just one where I figure out the whole thing and I have my life together, because I definitely don't. But the last time I spoke to you guys, I believe I mentioned that I had another call booked with a doctor. So I called my local GP back, and I was kind of hoping to speak to the woman that referred me for the blood tests, just because obviously she was the one that suggested them, and I just wanted to kind of talk through those with her, like the results with her, and kind of figure out what we could do next or what she would suggest, because I had started this whole conversation with her. But because the appointments at my local GP at the moment are obviously being kept for like emergencies, I couldn't actually get an appointment with the same woman, so I got referred to another, I think it's like a sister like clinic, I'm not really sure. But either way, I was actually then quite open to speaking to someone new, because I kind of thought with things like this, sometimes it's good to get second opinions, or another person might ask questions that you've not been asked before, or might tell you things that you've not thought about before. So I was quite excited to talk to someone new about it. But really long story short, I had a call with a guy who was really lovely, but I do genuinely feel like he just didn't want to worry me about anything. So I feel like at this point I'd kind of had two complete ends of the spectrum. So I had a woman that was very like matter of fact and very to the point, which I personally like, especially in these situations. Like, I just want to know, like, I don't want anything to be kind of hidden or like brushed over. I just want to know like what could happen and what we need to do, or I just like people being to the point. But obviously that was, at that time, it was kind of worrying, like what she was saying, like she was kind of agreeing with a lot of things that I was worried about. And when especially I was saying about like the blood clots and stuff, she was like, oh yeah, that's a bit concerning. And I was like, okay, well if you said that, then it's probably concerning. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I had that end of it where someone was kind of like, okay, this is what could happen, and don't worry because this and this. And then this guy was just very, yeah, I just feel like he didn't want to hurt my feelings, or he didn't want to worry me about anything. So we had a good chat. Like, I was kind of filling him in on everything that I'd told the other woman, and I'd said about how my tests had come back like absolutely fine, and I was just a little bit confused about that because I feel like there's more we could be doing here. Sorry about the lighting, by the way. I'm sat in the lounge and the sun has just randomly decided to come out. But yeah, I was filling him in on all of that, so basically everything I've told you guys already. And at this point I still hadn't come on my period, so I think we're now like on day 90 something. Like, I've probably lost count at this point. I mean, I am tracking it on my app, but yeah, it was like day 90 something of my cycle and I still hadn't come on. So I was telling him about that, and I basically asked him the question of if I, and I kind of want to put a trigger warning here, I'm about to speak about like infertility and like the possibilities of getting pregnant. So I basically mentioned to him about my period in November and how it wasn't painful. So apparently if it wasn't painful, that meant that I hadn't ovulated, because a period that is painful is apparently when you're ovulating, and when it's not, it potentially means that you haven't ovulated that month. So as far as I'm concerned, you need to ovulate to be able to get pregnant. So obviously if I didn't ovulate in November, then I couldn't have got pregnant in November. December I didn't have a period. January I then didn't have a period as well. So again, I don't see how I could have got pregnant because I didn't ovulate across 3, nearly 4 months. And I basically asked him that. I said, if I was looking to have a baby right now, like if me and Brad were trying to conceive, would I have not been able to get pregnant over those 3 months? And he kind of just like stumbled on his words. Like, it was like I'd asked him to do something outrageous. Like, I don't know, he just kind of fumbled a bit. And he, again, I think he just didn't want to hurt my feelings. Like, he said, well, I don't want to say that's true because it's not the case for everyone, which I do understand. I can imagine it's not the case for everyone, but I just really wanted like a yes or no, or like, yeah, there's a 90% chance you wouldn't or would. I didn't really get an answer. So yeah, he was really sweet. He was very helpful. He did, at the end of the day, I want to keep this quite brief, he did say that he wants to refer me for another internal scan, which I was so grateful for, so thankful about, because he said it himself. He was like, your last scan was over 5 years ago now. I think there's nothing wrong with us putting you forward for another one and just kind of seeing what's going on. And I'm like, thank you. Like, that is what I'm thinking. That's what I've been thinking this whole time. Like, why don't we just do a scan? At the end of the day, that's what showed up in the first place, that I had PCOS. So as far as I'm aware, it could show up anything. I just don't think there's any harm in checking. So yeah, he mentioned that. And then obviously, again, given the current circumstances, he did say that the hospital that does the scans could refuse me and say that they've got other emergencies to deal with, and I'm totally prepared for that. If that happens, that happens, and that's completely understandable. So we'll see. But that is basically where we're at now. So that's where we're at in terms of me kind of speaking to doctors and stuff like that. I'm now literally waiting to hear from my GP, and if I don't hear from them within a week, then I need to call them and just say, hey, like, am I able to go for a scan or not? So we'll see. But that is what I'm gonna kind of cover off in the next video that I do about this, because yeah, that's gonna be in like a couple months to come, or weeks. I don't know how long it could be. But hallelujah, the day finally came. I finally came on my period after over 3 months, so potentially nearly 100 days, like 95 days or something, of being on a cycle and no period, no signs, no nothing. Sorry, I've got fluff all over my face. Yeah, I finally came on, and oh my god, it was, I'm gonna go as far as to say it was worse than my period when I was 16, which I told you guys that I couldn't go off the toilet. I passed out, I was in so much pain. Like, that I would hands down say was one of the worst days of my life so far. This was awful. This was like that day but 3 days in a row. So whenever I'm on my period, again probably TMI, whenever I'm on my period I usually have one day of like being super heavy and in a lot of pain, but I'm always really good at keeping up to date on taking painkillers. So on every hour that I can, I will always take like ibuprofen or paracetamol. I know you can take them together as well, but I just like keep dosed up as such. Like I keep up to date on the tablets, so I take the edge off the pain. That didn't even do anything this time. Like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't take painkillers. I was in so much pain that I just couldn't imagine what it would have felt like if I hadn't have taken them. I couldn't sleep the first night. It was just awful. It literally felt like I had all 3 periods come at once. Like I had all of them in that one period. I was super heavy. I got up 5 times in the first night to change. I think 3 times in the second night. Like, I probably went through 2-3 boxes of sanitary pads and tampons. Like, it just wasn't cute at all. Obviously I was very grateful that I was on and the day had finally arrived, but again I was passing really quite big blood clots. TMI, sorry. Yeah, they were, to me, very worryingly big, because it was like quite shocking. So yeah, that's again something that I want to kind of discuss further, because to me that's just not normal. Like, the size of them was not normal. And obviously that's something very important to get checked out. So obviously glad I finally had a period. Still very much some complications there. So yeah, that's where we're at. I've now finished my period. It was about a week long, it's my usual kind of time frame, but yeah, the first 3 days were just insane. Just insane. But yeah, I'm now off. I feel absolutely fine. I feel quite normal. I've been prescribed iron tablets. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I might have mentioned that when I said about my test results. So I've been taking them. I think they're helping. I've been on them for just over a week now. I take 3 a day, and yeah, I don't feel as kind of spaced out. So whenever I'd feel a bit faint, just like in general day to day, like, you know, sometimes when you get up too quick, like your head goes a bit funny, I would just randomly have that throughout the day. Even if I hadn't stood up, like I'd just be doing normal things and I'd suddenly just go, not even dizzy, I'd just be like really spaced out and like almost a bit confused. And I haven't really been having that as much. So obviously there's so many things linked to an iron deficiency, and it can make you feel so many different things in so many different ways. So I'm sure that's linked to most of my weirdness that I have going on as well. But yeah, they seem to be helping, and obviously I'm going to stick at those and see where we're at when it comes to potentially getting the scan done. So yeah, I feel like that's you guys totally filled in now with where I'm at. Like I say, I will pick you guys up when it comes to the scan, and when it comes to anything else related to this, I'll just keep you posted along the way. But it's definitely going to be multiple videos, and I feel like we've got a little way to go before we fully understand what's going on, but that's fine. That's all part of the process. That's why I want to do this. I want to be able to speak to you guys openly about it. I want you guys to feel like you can speak openly about it as well. Leave comments, ask questions, whatever you want to do. I will try and help in some way, and I hope that just by like normally sitting down and chatting to you guys about it, that kind of helps to make you feel kind of less alone, or less like it's something you can't speak about, because it definitely is. Like 100% it is. Obviously I am no medical professional. If you do want like medical help, or if you do feel like this might be something you could potentially be suffering with, then please seek medical advice, like professional medical help. Call your GP, whatever you've got to do in that realm. Please don't take everything I've said as gospel, because obviously I'm just me. But I hope you enjoyed this video. That feels kind of weird to say, but I hope it did help in some way, whatever way. Or if you just kind of wanted to hear a little bit more about PCOS and this kind of journey or this kind of thing, then I hope it helped in that sense. But thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you all so much love, especially if this is something that has directly affected you or loved ones around you. I know it affects everyone in completely different ways. Like, there is such a scale to this. Like, it can affect you in multiple different ways. That again is part of why I wanted to open it up as a conversation and shed a bit more light on it, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to wrap this video up here, and like I say, in regards to this subject, I will speak to you guys hopefully soon when I hear a bit more news. But otherwise, hopefully I'll see you in my next video, whatever that may be, because I have no idea what it is right now. But anyway, I hope you're all safe and well, and I'll speak to you all very soon in my next video. Bye guys.